my name is Nicolette Mashile. I'm also known as the Financial Bunny. Welcome to the Financial Bunny TV, and today we're playing catch up with Mr. Junior Khoza. And the reason why I say it's catch up is because we actually have done this video before, but somehow, you guys, I'm aging now. Like, I can't remember these things, so I had forgotten to actually play the content out. But I want you guys to notice one thing between this content and the content that we shot before. Junior actually looks different, guys. Like, you've got such a glow, hey?
Yeah, I know. Healthy.
Healthy. Is it only you who's healthy, or what else is healthy,
the
Junior?
Community,
everything,
the network,
stakeholders,
positive relationships,
yes,
stakeholders.
Yes.
The vision has finally manifested, and the time we met, I was still going through my process.
Yes.
Now I'm speaking about the results. Now,
okay, perfect.
Because results take time, right? So
absolutely.
At that time, like you said, a lot has changed.
Yeah.
It's results.
I like that. I like the fact that you speak about the process takes time. I was actually showing somebody, so I bought my mom a car last weekend, and I was showing them that I'd actually put this out years before I did, because people think you just wake up and then something happens, right? But before we get into our conversation, guys, do remember that nothing that we say on this channel constitutes as financial advice. If you are, however, looking for financial advice, please do speak to somebody that is certified and registered with the FSCA. But let's talk a little bit. Welcome.
Thank
back.
You. Welcome back 3 years later.
Yeah.
3 years later, yeah.
But for the benefit of those who don't know who you are, can you tell us a little bit about who Junior actually is?
Well, yeah, guys, my name is Junior Khoza. My background is in personal training and fitness modeling, but currently now in the business of network marketing. And I've been doing network marketing for 5 years now, and managed to build my business to a point where, okay, I don't want to speak about finances, but finances is the least of my worries through the business model. So I'm not necessarily a personal trainer. Socially, I'm known as a personal trainer, but I'm actually a business builder or businessman. But I used the vehicle of network marketing to develop the entrepreneurial skills.
I always tell people you've got to use what is at your liberty. And I always talk about a gentleman by the name of James Johnny. Now, James was a film student, and he realized that he was struggling to actually get into any films. So he then moved to YouTube, and he actually does the most epic storytelling on YouTube. That guy's got 12 videos and he's got over 1 million subscribers, and it always just baffles me. But if you watch his videos, you understand why. So I like the fact that you used something that was already organic to you, and that was bodybuilding, fitness training, and all of that, to naturally build the business that you are currently in. And I want to talk a little bit about that, especially because people say network marketing is a scam. What's your response to that? Oh, is that the response is a laugh, a big fat laugh. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, right now, I don't really take those questions personally, because you then have to find what's the root of that question. Where's it coming from? Because at the end of the day, everyone only knows what they know, and they don't know what they don't know. So if they don't know, if it was a scam, I would ask them what makes it a scam. Depending on how they answer the question, I would then know if they are informed, or if it was just an opinion passed on to them, that they are also just saying it as well. So I don't really spend major time on minor things. Clearly it's not a scam, because my life is not a scam. I built my life from the ground up. No rich parents, no investors, just straight hustle, hard work, no handouts, no favors. And it's through the business model, and it's endorsed by my mentors, Robert Kiyosaki, Grant Cardone, and they're billionaires, and they endorse this industry. Donald Trump does. So those are that's where I get my information. And if they're saying that this works, I'm going to trust the people that have the results. So it's not a scam.
Okay. All right. So where do you find these mentors? Because if I'm listening, I remember you said something quite powerful. And that is what a lot of people don't do, is that a lot of people will look at wealthy people. They look at people who have tried and tested a process and it works, and they'll try to find something flawed about it, something wrong with it. And I guess that's one of the reasons why people will say network marketing is a scam, right? So explain to me what gave you the staying power? Because as you said, it's been a process that you've been building. It's not 2-minute noodles that you wake up and now you've got a meal of 2-minute noodles.
100%.
You've had to go through the process, but you had to stay in it.
Yep.
So what gave you that staying power?
Well, there's this saying that how you do one thing is how you do everything. Okay. And I wasn't born in shape. I wasn't born with a rich family.
Yeah.
And basically, it was just the little things like, okay, whenever I had my first gym membership when I was age 15, I've never stopped training since. And people start to gym, they stop. And 15 years later, there's been a great separator between our physiques. I'm talking about me and
somebody
who was around at started gym before me. And it was just basically me staying in the process of going to the gym. So I then built the discipline and willpower. And then now when I then started, let's say Facebook, for example, I'd post almost the similar content all the time. Junior, are you always going to post your shirtless pictures?
Yes.
And if I was conforming to everyone's opinions, I would not be able to grow my Facebook. My Facebook got full within like 3 years. Got full in 2011. And I left Facebook, and then I started Twitter. My friends had a lot of followers than me. Then I used to tweet all the time. But for me, Twitter was the one thing that I actually left because I just realized that a lot of people just tweet their thoughts, and it wasn't really the perfect place for me to personally build my brand. Then I then started Instagram. With the same process, I built my Facebook. And as a result, since I started Instagram, I've been posting consistently. Now, a few years later, close to 200,000 followers. And it was just the consistency of posting. So with that same disciplines that I applied in working out, posting consistently on social media, I applied it with the network marketing structure where you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start in order to be great. So they would give us a plan. Most people are given plans. They don't follow the plan. And because they're not following the plan,
it doesn't work.
They reap results of inconsistency.
Yeah.
And when I started my network marketing business, I never stopped. And currently I'm one of the quickest growing in my industry at the moment. And that's the results of never missing the little things like attending meetings, working on yourself, using the product. And working on yourself, the biggest project you can ever work on is yourself. And it's not network marketing that made me. It's me becoming the best version of myself that made network marketing work for me.
Because there could be two network marketers and it doesn't mean everybody's going to be great at it, right? And I like what you said. I think it's two things that really stand out. And it's one is consistency, but two is doing the mundane things. You know, I think consistency is something that a lot of us really lack because we just don't have that staying power. But you mentioned doing the little things. And I think it's always in the details that people don't talk about. And without going all Christian on you guys, but there's a Bible story about Sarah. I think her name is Sarah.
Okay.
Y'all know I don't know the Bible that well.
Neither do I. But
anybody wants to be my man and teach me the Bible. So apparently Sarah kept going to the river every single day to fetch water for her family. And the one day she goes to the river to fetch, but she's been praying about getting a husband. And the one day she goes to the river again to get water, and that's where she meets her husband. But it's doing the mundane things, the things that everybody thinks, why are you doing that? And I guess it's the posting, it's the creating the content, because let me tell you, creating content is not easy.
Word.
That's fantastic, Junior. So tell us a little bit about, okay, what builds the business of Junior? What builds your business currently? How did you build your structure? Because as you say, from where I met you to where you are now, it's worlds apart. But what built it?
I mean, obviously, when I went to my first meeting, they gave us the plan and deciding to go through the process.
Yeah.
Commit first, figure the rest out later.
Okay.
Write down your goals and write down what your distractions are. Once you've written it down, these are my distractions, these are the goals, and you write down the distractions. You cut out the distractions, and what can you replace the distractions with? That is now a action which replaces the distraction, which gets you closer towards the goals. So I personally then set my own goals to, for example, as a guy, I wrote down my goals. And personally, the first goal I wanted, because, for example, I used to jolla when my finances weren't straight, and life was hard whether you got money or not. But I then made a decision like, look, I've tried this process, and I thought I could overcompensate through showing that even though I don't have money, I can do certain things. But then what tends to happen is that when you put too much time trying to prove yourself, you end up devaluing yourself. And with that time I spent devaluing myself, the things that I didn't have, I ended up devaluing myself because I spent a lot of time trying to prove myself instead of just proving myself to someone that probably, let's say, didn't see my worth at the time. And I don't blame the person. I take accountability that I wasn't really focused on my purpose at that time, because I take on constructive criticism. Because whenever something fails, you always have to hold yourself accountable and you reinvent. So when I saw that, okay, dating is actually a lot harder when for example, as a guy, I don't have my own place.
Yeah.
Number one. So I then needed to set financial goals to be able to not get a place for a girl, but for myself first, because it's like, what am I doing trying for me personally to date, still staying at my mom's house?
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm getting older.
Yeah.
How am I going to take care of a family when I haven't proven that I can take care of myself?
Yeah.
So it's always how we choose to process everything. So then I then made a decision. With these next 5 years, I've done the jolling like this. Now let me build my life first. Then I can take on dating after my life is built. I don't want to then blame someone else for wasting time when I can use my time to build my life up. And as a result of that, I'm now currently dating. There was jolling broke. Jolling the way I'm jolling now, it's been a lot better. Not only because of that, because I then found out who I really am, what I like, what I don't like. And with the law of attraction, I found someone that likes common things that I do. And now the relationship is more purpose-driven. It's not just jolling to jolly. Everything that I do is a business and stuff now. So it's like I'm jolling with a purpose right now. Now it's like, okay, I stayed single with a purpose, and I enjoyed being single. I know what it's like to be alone. I'm at peace still being alone. And then I learned what it's like to then take on adult responsibilities, because you need to look at dating like pre-marriage. And you need to ask yourself right now, do I want to put someone else in my life when I haven't got my stuff sorted? Because I'm also going to inherit the person's problems and baggage and all of that. And if I'm not at the point where I can overcome, taking on more responsibilities when I haven't mastered myself is a recipe for disaster.
Absolutely. And I think also because, what it looks like now is what it's going to look. I always tell people, people think marriage is going to change things. Like somehow it's going to change your finances, it's going to change your fights, it's going to change your arguments. It's going to look, dating is, it's like a preview of what it's going to look like. And I think you are right in saying, financially, if you're not in the right space, if you're in a space where you're forever trying to impress the person that you're with, where you can't, how are you going to do it in marriage? Because that's going to be, but you've said so many things. Okay, and I'm going to take a couple of steps back and start off with the distractions.
Yes,
I like that, because it's like having a GPS and you're trying to go somewhere, and along the way it's a puncture, along the way it's the road is closed, and you've got to remove those things and find the catalyst to be able to get you to your goals. What would you say were your top 2 distractions?
Top 2 distractions for me. Well, because I set the goal that I'm not going to date seriously, and I then understood that whoever I meet in between my process, I'm not going to prioritize them until I hit my goal. Okay. So it would be an obstacle. Yes. And it's you being rooted to what you want to achieve that keeps you aligned. So because of that, goals weren't really a distraction.
But dating wrong.
Wow. So 100%, it's because I did not have time to then still find out if you're the right one or not, because I was still more focused on achieving my goals first. Yeah. And then, but when I then look at my friends that didn't stay single the way I have, our lives are totally different. Not that their girlfriends distracted them, but it's just kind of like, there's only a fine amount of decisions you can make a day. Yeah. And if some of the decisions that you have to make are going to be consumed by someone else, it then stops you from making the decisions that you're going to make for yourself first. Yeah. And because I then started putting all those action chips on where I'm going first, and I have achieved my goals. And now, because, for example, I don't necessarily work for money. Yeah. Now, even if, let's say, a partner would come into my life and they're only looking at what I've got. Yeah. And stuff now, and it's, let's say, a lot of people say, Junior, doesn't your girlfriend want you for your money and all of that? I'm like, even if she did and stuff now, money is the least of my worries. I had needed to develop the wisdom to know.
Well, she's actually lucky if she's there for the money, because that's the easy part of this thing. Part.
Yeah. Getting to know me is the hard part, because I'm not going to let you into my space until I can feel through your energy. Yeah. And that's something that you need to discover yourself by the person you become. And if you don't become, you could be subconsciously making a mistake. And most people don't realize they're not thinking. And when you're not thinking, you're not actually aware that whatever you're doing could accumulate into a disaster. Because if you're not looking at how the little things are going to turn into big things, you could have realized maybe 3 years later that your girlfriend probably wasn't the one, because you weren't looking at the little things. You were neglecting the small things. And the same way as if people are looking at what I've got on a materials basis, not on what I do on a day-to-day basis, you really don't understand I decided that I was going to work on a process. What happens in the process is part of the process. I needed to learn the character, all the things that happen along the process. And then when you connect the dots looking backwards, everything was happening for you, not to you. And you then know how to reinvent the process even better, to speed it up. How can you accumulate the same success if I had to lose everything in terms of finances?
Yeah, would you be able to do it again?
And now I know how to do it a lot quicker, a lot sooner.
Yeah.
Because I know what to avoid, what not to avoid. The time will still be needed to put in, but you still know how to do it better than how I did it before. Absolutely. And I've now become the sort of guy that I know if I was still the version that I was before I made the money, I wouldn't be where I am right now from a financial standpoint. Yeah.
Just to clear things up, I've got a broken nail, okay? I broke it, and I'm not going to do this thing where I keep hiding it. Guys, keep up.
Word.
Because I'm just like, listen, I'm tired of trying to hide this nail. It's broken. I'm going to go fix my nails. Y'all know I can afford to fix
my
nails,
lips
please.
are dry before
do you know what I mean? Like, please, man.
Yeah.
So you always another distraction. But just to paint a picture on the dating distraction from my comprehension of what you've just said. So, fine. The way you were dating at a time was a distraction. And you said, this is where my goal is. So my goal perhaps maybe is to buy myself a home. It's got nothing to do with the girlfriend and the dating. But the way I'm dating right now is a distraction because I'm having to pump money into impressing because it's part of the way I'm dating now. So let me take this out and stop dating, catalyst my efforts, because now I'm making decisions just for Junior so we can get to the goal, and we obstacle now to there. And when we get here, because now this is no longer a problem, the person I'm here is somebody I truly want to be with.
Yeah, 100%. So the most important thing about the becoming part, to be a good mentor, you have to be a good mentee. So now it's kind of like, okay, I'm now at a point where people are listening to what I'm saying. They value what I say.
Yes.
But they weren't valuing where I was going before I had the material things.
But people are like that. You got to show them, right?
So I started looking for qualities that I found that were good about me, which was being able to keep the ego down, being coachable to the process, listen to people smarter than me, and all of that. And if someone can trust me because I know what I'm doing, I would value that more than anything external. So
But have you ever had an ego though? Was there a time when you had an ego?
I wouldn't call it an ego. I would call it not being in control of your emotions. Yeah. Because as a guy, you still have to slay your demons. Yeah. And I would find myself, I could get really angry and I would do something stupid back then. Yeah. But I then started asking myself, if I keep on not being able to control my emotions, I used to fight like taxi drivers, all of this, because I was aggressive. Oh, wow. And I was like, if I carry on like this, I might get shot. So if you can't control your emotions, you can't control your finances.
Were you using steroids?
Back then, I'd try, yeah. Okay. Yeah. But even if you're not, there's still guys that are emotional without. And at the end of the day, I ended up in hospital through, not sleeping and being with the wrong people. But I didn't end up being prescribed with a lot of medication. And that medication, it was to help slow me down, but that's a tone level. Yeah. If you slow down and you want to be an entrepreneur, you got to move quick. Yes. So at the end of the day, I didn't want to depend on anything external. Yeah. I wanted to depend on what God gave all of us. 24 hours, the same soil, the same air, the same world. It's how you choose to use what you have. And I then decided to not conform to the fact they labeled me bipolar. But hold on. You say same 24 hours, same air, same whatever. But different circumstances. I was about to say, because somebody can say, but your 24 hours is different from my 24 hours. Your 24 hours exists of you living in a suburban area. You've got Wi-Fi. You can speak good English. You can communicate. So your 24 hours, in as much as it's the same as mine, let's say I'm is packaged differently though. Are we at least acknowledging that? I'm glad that you said that because I don't come from money. I also come from Alex. Like I don't have a rich family and stuff. I've had life rich, I've had life poor. But I'm grateful that I started poor because I'm grateful for everything that I have because I always remind myself of what I didn't have. Yeah. And because people now only know me through social media, they don't know where I come from. And I'm glad that you asked that, but I've documented my entire journey. I documented my speech at my dad's funeral when I was still staying at my mom's house, and I promised my mom that I was going to retire. I kept the promises that I made to myself to retire my mom. 3 years later, I retired my mom, and I've got the evidence when My dad was dying, stage 4 cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure, weak kidneys. And I still needed to make hard decisions. When I already had come to the conclusion that my dad is going to die 6 months before he was going to, I stopped going to the hospital to go visit him because he wouldn't eat because I was not there. And I was confronting the inevitable, that my dad was at a point where he had accumulated disaster where no amount of time that I spend with him is going to stop him from losing his life. And I then needed to then start making even harder sacrifices, which is when now family meetings were there and they're like, Junior, why don't you come to the family meeting? You go to your meetings. No, it's all about family and all of that. I'm grateful that I still stayed loyal to the process, because if I attended all those funerals, if I attended all these family gatherings, at my dad's funeral, no one came to give us finances to help take care of the family. But the decisions that I made then, where the whole family was then saying, Junior, you are being rebellious and all of that.
And how old are you at this point?
I was 25.
25.
Yeah, I was 25. And 3 years later, I hit the top level of the company that I represent. And now when it's funerals and stuff, now my whole family's pulling up with nice cars and they're all speaking to my mom like, yo, we're so proud of your son. I'm grateful that I became a man of my word and I've proven who I've become even before the finances came. And they treat my mom differently, and I've made my mom proud because she does not have to worry about finances because I can take care of the rest of the family now. And it's everything that I've learned that I can now teach my sister's kids and all of that. I'm now that uncle that can make miracles through information, not through money. And information is more important. Well, let me say specific knowledge. And specific knowledge is tailored to who you become through what you choose to implement, execute, learn, and then teach. Because we're all going to have, like I said, 24 hours. And I'm glad you asked me that question because I don't come from money. So I've got information for people without money to be able to get to where I am. And I've also got information for people with money to get to where they're going, because always be grateful for where you come from. Because if you're born with money, you're born in a life where life is smooth. And sometimes it's so smooth that it actually makes you not be aware of the little setbacks that you need to learn. And I've got a rich side of the family where I've got some of my relatives that don't have the same results that I have, but they came from a wealthy family and I don't. And it's because hard times create strong men, strong men create good times, good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. So so it's like if you, let's say, are a strong father that creates good times for your kids. If you create an environment that's too good for your kids and it takes away their own hunger to become successful for themselves, you are disabling your kids because you've given them everything that they needed from a materialistic standpoint. When you're starting with nothing, you're supposed to use your energy, time, and attention becoming a stronger person mentally, physically, and emotionally. And these are core principles that need to be instilled before the child even learns how to speak. Because by the time the child learns how to speak, it means that your child has now been put through an educational process where you had no impact through the development of your kids. And wealth is taught at home, not at school. And that's why there's wealthy families and there's poor families. And I'm not talking from a financial standpoint. I'm talking from how we think, what we eat,
what we consume,
and stuff. So wealth is taught from the little things that turn into big things. And what you must do is create the environment where your kids can thrive, but don't make things easy for them. Just make sure you've got the information to teach them how to process information, because you don't want to raise kids that become a victim. You want to raise kids that are going to overcome anything that happens.
So tell me, do you think your background is what made you teachable? Like you spoke a little bit about at some point you had to become the mentor, you got to be a mentee. So I'm assuming it's having a teachable spirit. It's being able to listen, being coachable, being able to follow plan consistently. You think it's your background, or this, is there a certain personal character, or is it hitting the bottom of the bottom? What gives you that teachable spirit?
I think personally, I realize I'm not good at reading, but I'm good at listening. So I think that's a God-given gift, because if you listen to learn, you can then learn to listen. And there will be different types of mindsets. There's a person with a fixed mindset that is stuck on what they know, and there's nothing you can do because that's just how they think. So their philosophy is the reason why they think the way they do and all of that. So you can't help that kind of person because they're already too fixed. And I realized that, okay, I wasn't good at reading. So if I'm not good at reading, I'm probably not going to do well at school. I failed matric, to be honest. I'm speaking authentically because it's how. But I was a good listener. And because I was then good at observing and seeing what works and what doesn't, I would then ask the questions from the people that have what I want. And because I was a good listener, I executed it on that information. And because executing is more important than knowing, because you learn more from doing than knowing, it was me being a good listener and then doing. So it's everything that has happened to me, where it's like I was then quick at always responding to what has happened, not dwelling too long. If I take too long to respond, it's going to compound. I already knew my dad was going to die before he died. And I needed to take action before he died because he still died anyway. And because I still took that action, they still delayed consequences where, yes, we're all in pain. Nothing can take the pain away from losing a parent. No amount of money can take that away. But the person that I became during that process, I'm glad that I built that hustle muscle, that character, and the actions that I took, because now it's kind of like, not that I'm not scared of anything, I don't operate from fear.
Where do you get this ability to be able to know what you're not good at? You have a lot of awareness about self. Is that something you've got to train? How important is it as an entrepreneur? Because I can imagine as an entrepreneur, we all want to position ourselves as know-it-all. You know, how are you able to have such level or high level of awareness about things you're not good at?
Well, basically, I've always set high standards for myself personally, and I'm taking this from the little things. When I was young and I wanted to build the body that I've got, it was more like, okay, as a guy, guys usually typically work chest and arms, and then you skip leg day. And back then when they're like, Junior, you've got a small chest, you only work arms. I took that constructive criticism and I wasn't offended. I took it as an opportunity to improve on that, and I then worked the chest and the arms. They're like, Junior, you skip leg day. Then I work legs. Then I told myself, you know what, I gotta work everything, strengths and weaknesses. And as a result, if people can check me out on social media, if they were to rate my physique, not that it's a 10 out of 10, but it's literally almost complete, because I worked on what I'm strong at, I worked on what I'm weak at, and if I had now built a complete body through working on what I didn't want to work, but you didn't need to do it. As an entrepreneur, you have to apply the same things. There's what you're good at, and what you are weak at is going to be your biggest constraint. So if you have the mindset that you know it all as an entrepreneur, I've realized that the more I learn, the more I realize I know nothing. And if you've got that mindset that you know it all, it's a fixed mindset, and it's going to kill growth in other areas of your life, because you personally feel as if that you can't improve. There's always room for improvement. And there isn't I've arrived level. Whenever I've hit a new level, I realize I'm at the bottom of a higher level. But to other people, Junior's at the top. I'm broke compared to other people that are way higher than me. And that's what keeps me coachable, because I've got people that are levels way higher than me, which keeps me in the state of mind to realize that I have not arrived.
Tell me, what do you spend your money on?
Audiobooks.
Okay, what do you really spend your money on?
Well, the question is
not for this video. What do you spend your money on?
It's relative to the context of where I'm at now.
Yes. So
when I didn't have money, what did I spend my money on? Yeah. Or when I've got money now, what am I spending my money on?
Whichever one. You can start from when you didn't have money. Okay. What are you spending your money on?
When I didn't have money, I spent my money on basically going to the gym, meal prepping, and buying cheap clothes to begin with, and then traveling and executing on the products that I was using to work on myself. But as then you start becoming good at what you're doing, you then end up having more money, and then you start realizing that money is a tool. I'm like, and then I started saying, okay, I'm spending too much time cooking my meals. I can buy meal preps. So instead of spending an hour every day meal prepping, I can rather buy meals that are set. Let's say
so you buy convenience so that you could use your time to produce.
Yes, I started using my money to buy time. To buy time, because time you can't replace. So then I started using money to then buy or spend time on things that were not income producing activities for me, and I'd replace that time on the things that I was already making me more valuable to the marketplace. To the marketplace is very important, and it would be money on products, traveling, audiobooks, and just even like buying like a cell phone just to take content for social media, all those things. So if you're listening to what I'm saying, I'm not saying I'll spend money on going on dates and all of that. This is very specific, and this is what enabled me to separate myself. And now that I've separated myself, I'm at a point now where it's like with the extra money now, it's like, okay, we can buy cars. We're supposed to be in London currently at the moment. We didn't get our visas yesterday. And it was a blessing in disguise because we met you at the restaurant yesterday. And because of that, it's kind of like now we can actually finish what we started. And so we're not upset that we're not going to London. Because we've built our lives to a point where we can leave the country at any time. And that's the kind of freedom that people need to kind of like create for themselves. But for such freedom comes huge sacrifice. And it's the little things that have given me the life that I've got now.
And it's quite interesting because I listened to a talk by Dion Chang, and Dion Chang is quite a trends expert, and he's got a company called Flux Trends. And he was speaking about what are going to be the next couple of trends that are going to be coming up. And one of the biggest things is time millionaires. So people are no longer valuing themselves based on money and how much they have and their net worth. They're valuing themselves based on how much time do I have. Because you can have all the money in the world, but you are sebenza and you work hard for that money. And it's not nice, you know. So, and I think that's also what I speak about is how are you ensuring, what are your current income streams? You don't have to tell us how much, but what are your current income streams that allow you to take time back?
Okay, I'm so glad that you actually asked such an excellent question. Because time is...
I'm an excellent interviewer,
Junior.
Yeah,
no, 100%. It clearly shows that you've been doing this.
I'm a broadcaster, man.
And guys, it takes a good person to ask good questions to get the best answers and stuff now. So these can only be good answers through good questions. And so currently at the moment, my business model got into network marketing, the company that I represent. There's 7 streams of income. So I then started understanding that I don't need 7 jobs. All these different streams of income represent an effect through service given. So maybe through selling the product, that's income stream number 1. Through teaching people on what you're doing, it's income stream number 2. And I then need to work on being good at teaching, which would be the second stream. There, I also need to get good at showing up, which is an action, which is an example. And people will do what you do, not what you say. So me now doing the little things like never missing a meeting, my team started then going to attend meetings through my example. And now with all those 7 streams of income, when you have unlocked all 7 streams of income, your income is at a point where you can then now take a certain portion of your income and start investing on a symbiotic flow. My symbiotic flow would be my YouTube channel now, which is, I've always wanted to do a YouTube channel, but I told myself, let me get to the top level first so that I've got extra income to get myself a videographer, to start creating jobs, number 1, and for him to also then document my journey and document exactly what I'm doing. Not start YouTube as I'm starting a YouTube channel. I'm documenting what I'm already doing and I'm putting it on YouTube and stuff now. And then now because of that, YouTube is also starting to pay me now, but I'm not attached to the money because it's everything that I've learned before the money came. And because I can take a certain percentage of my income to then start my YouTube studio, a certain percentage of my income is also put into other investments. Now, obviously people are always asking me on social media, Junior, do you do crypto? I don't do crypto, I invest in crypto. I just throw my money there and I don't pay attention to it because my time needs to be focused on the golden goose. The golden goose is what is funding my investment.
To close off today, I want to talk a little bit about attachment, emotional attachment. I think a lot of people have emotional attachment to things, right? Somebody will say, I won't expose my friends, but in fact, we're having this conversation and a friend of mine said something along the lines, or I say to her, the reason why married men don't care if you don't, let's say they're hitting on you and they're married. The reason why they don't add a lot of effort or they're not too emotionally attached because they've got someone at home. So they don't have an emotional attachment to what they're doing, right? How important, or is it even important to have an emotional attachment or not to have an emotional attachment to what you are doing? Because people often say that we like the passion. And when they talk about passion, they talk about emotional attachment. So what's your perspective on that?
Well, emotion is it's energy, number one. And if you invest a lot of time and energy into something that you're passionate about, depending on how much time you spend investing in that, if it disappears, that's a part of your soul that's gone with whatever you're investing in. So when I was building my business with the same analogy, I was so emotionally invested in my mentees achieving certain goals that I worked so hard that they still didn't achieve those goals, but I still achieved mine, and they're still at a better place. But I feel as if I wanted it more for them than for myself. But that was the biggest lesson. And as a result of that, I got detached from people's results and love people for where they are at. And when you operate from that frame of mind, you don't then have a vision for them. They need to have a vision for themselves, and you can just help them create that vision through giving them information that they're going to have to put in themselves to make it work and contribute to that vision, which is theirs. And if they don't, they weren't that emotionally invested into their own vision. So at the end of the day, people must not, anything that happens to you, don't assume responsibility to anyone else for that happening, and take accountability at the fact that maybe putting too much energy into the wrong person is not giving you ROI. And if you're taking long to process that, take accountability at the fact that maybe you could just use your time differently on something else. Because if something like that happens, don't blame that person. You put in your success in that other person's hands, and that's what
you're outsourcing that power.
Outsourcing that power, yeah.
We're gonna leave it here for today, but just a quick one, just so that you can see what you can look forward to in our next video. Junior, who should be dating and who should not be dating?
Look, I would say, if you're already in a relationship, sit down with your partner and tell her your plan, male or female. And if your partner supports you, then they must understand that you're working the plan, because if they don't understand the process, then your partner's going to stop you from achieving your goal. And if you're not in a relationship, you've got all the time to yourself to make those plans happen. Make those plans happen, then choose to date when you feel comfortable to date. And I think, because...
I'm going to explain it. We're going to explain it in the next video. And then the last one, to look forward again into the next video, how important are the people that you keep around?
That's the most important thing. Your network is your net worth. And
Do you choose your friends based on that? Or are you keeping a couple of friends that you just regular?
I've got the same friends from back then. It's just I spend my time differently with all of them, and the ones that add the most value get most of my time, and the ones that don't will get my leftover time.
So if you are getting leftover time, just know that you're not adding value to Junior's life. And I understand that. I do a friendship audit. I'm not gonna lie to you. I rate my friends out of 10.
Word.
Every single year you're getting rated. And if you're finding that I'm spending less time with you, your percentage is low. But guys, it's been absolutely fantastic. Junior, thank you so much for coming through. We look forward to part 2 of this conversation.
Men's conference and also couples conference.
We can rate the men's conference, because I dated somebody last year, and I feel like for the last 6 months I've just, the last 6 months, I dated the person in the middle of the year, so I think it was from May to September. What a waste of my time. Guys, I did nothing. I did absolutely nothing in those
But thank God
months.
you got passive income.
And you know what? I'm so glad for the structures that I put before that helped me go through that moment of my life, because those 6 months of my life were absolutely useless. And that's when for the first time, because I don't just date people. So for the first time I realized how important your partner is in making sure that you are ambitious, you want to do things, you are hungry, they push you. When you wake up in the morning, you're like, I don't feel like going to the meeting. This person's like, no. Let's go, babe. The person who says, no, let's just chill in bed. Guys, no. But I'll see you guys on the next one. Do remember that nothing that we say on this channel constitutes as financial advice. If you are looking for financial advice, do speak to somebody. I can give you financial advice who is registered with the FSCA. Bye!